It's no surprise Chicago has some financial issues, and Illinois taxpayers elsewhere frustrated that they've sent their dollars to Chicago. But it looks like Chicago's trying to do some financial types of things to move some money around, to pay off some older debts in hopes that they save taxpayers money. This came up during the Chicago City Council meeting last week. Definitely want to review this because we're talking about $1.5 billion. And that's something that did ultimately advance where they're going to refinance things to pay off some debt, but there was some pushback from members of the City Council. First up, though, of course, last week we reviewed the conversations that people had addressing the council and concerns they had about the politics. In particular, groups of black citizens saying that they're going to go red and turn Chicago red. But all of that, of course, took some spotlight. Let's talk about the finances. Pat Dowell, Chicago alderwoman, she had a last-minute ordinance that they wanted to bring forward to approve on Tuesday last week.
Concerning the refunding of general obligation sales tax securitization corporation bond, Series 2024, which was deferred and published on October 9th, 2024. I move for passage of this item by a roll call vote. I reserve the right to close if anyone wishes to speak to this item.
Very well, thank you.
There were people who spoke to the item, in particular, Councilman Ray Lopez, very critical of the Johnson administration and saying that this is not necessarily the best route to go to save taxpayers money.
Our concerns are and were that avenues are being created so that money can be used for operating expenses and for the continuation of living beyond our means. We have seen where even just today, $20 million was refunded back to the city of Chicago in the Budget Committee's report to try to fill this hole that we have for this year because of expenses related to the migrant asylum seekers. Hearing also that that's probably the last we're going to see from the state or the federal government in terms of reimbursements. Where else are we going to find these reimbursements? Well, I can tell you that, as my colleagues know, and as we discussed in committee, these savings have already been actualized and written into the budget that we have yet to see. We haven't said yes, but the administration is already counting on that yes to be approved and that yes to continue and for those savings to be there. And I think it's important to recognize, colleagues, that the market, even from 1 month to the next, has already changed against us.
So clearly Lopez worried that all this refinancing ordinance would do is just allow the city to continue spending at the levels they're spending, especially considering the amount of money, the tens of millions of dollars the city's spending on non-citizen migrants and how that money seems to be drying up at the federal level. He shared more of his concerns during Tuesday's Chicago City Council meeting.
We refuse to start living within our means, to start asking those questions about what we can do to claw back money for the taxpayers, what we can do to hold banks accountable, to pay their fair share, as the saying goes, to Chicagoans, to make sure that as much money as possible could stay in the hands in this room, to pay our bills, to live in under our own means. But those aren't the discussions we are having. That's not even the discussions that people want to have with us. Because we'll just be gaslighted, we'll be accused of being racist, we'll be accused of not wanting to invest in communities, even though what we're really talking about is not saddling them with debt for the next generation.
So again, the refinancing issue, Lopez says, is just going to continue debt further down the line. Pat Dowell responding to some of that.
It's $90 million in savings this year, 2024, and another $35 million in savings in 2025. So for everyone who asks, what is Chicago doing to put its fiscal house in order? Here you go.
So is it really going to put the fiscal house in order? And to the issue of rates, will the rates really be favorable to the city of Chicago? That was a question that was asked of the administration after the city council meeting. Here's how the question went.
The state comptroller is not a fan of the $1.5 billion refi, and some other municipal finance onlookers are saying there's no guarantee the savings that you're promising will be realized. Is there a chance that those numbers are not going to be accurate once you go to market with this borrowing, with the refi?
So again, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson pulls up Jill Jaworski, is the budget expert within the administration. She said, listen, this is going to work out. It's going to save them money.
Whenever you go to market, you don't know what the rates are going to be. If we knew what the rates were going to be, well, I wouldn't be standing here at this podium. I'd be relaxing in a cabana by a beach somewhere. We don't know what the market's going to be. But interest rates now are significantly lower than they were when those bonds were issued. So we know if we do a refinancing deal, we're going to save money. And we've been pretty conservative in our estimates of what we think they're going to be. Last year, we were conservative. We estimated about $70 million would come out of this transaction. Now we're estimating about $90 million will. But truly, we think it's going to be significantly more. Now, if in the next month or so, interest rates spike up and we can't get those savings, we'll defer during the transaction. We're not selling bonds to sell bonds. We're doing this transaction solely to save money, and that is our goal. And if the savings are, not sufficient, we'll delay and wait for another time when rates are better. But right now, we're very comfortable in the projections that we've given that we will realize those savings.
So you've got the administration saying that, they don't know the rates in the future, but they proclaim that this is going to bring about some savings. I guess we'll wait and see if those savings are really going to lead to taxpayers not being on the hook for these types of costs moving forward, or if they're going to continue to see fiscal cliffs and hundreds of millions of dollars in deficits with no real change to how they spend. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell each and every weekday morning, giving you stuff to start your day with here with America's Talking Network.